Hey, Seth. Bye, ladies. Have a good day.
Can I make up the test tomorrow?
Tomorrow morning, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Tomorrow morning, can I come and take my Chapter 7 test?
That would be perfect. Yes.
See you later.
Bye, bye.
Barbecue this Friday, right?
What, Bobby?
The barbecue this Friday?
Mm-hmm. All right, y'all grab your ACT stuff. We're on what, 50, 51, 50, something like that. Can't remember, let me get it out and see. Okay, so somebody needs number 52. Number 52 is actually a pretty easy question, but the way they word it is very funky. Here we go. So now part A, or vertex A, is 8, 2. Vertex B is 0, 6. And vertex C is negative 3, 2. So what it told you... Okay, so it told you point C can be moved anywhere you need it to be moved, right? As long as it doesn't change the area, which is basically there to throw you off. And it says AB is stationary. This line right here is stationary. It ain't going nowhere. All it wants is the slope of that line. So how do you find slope? What is slope? The Algebra 2 a Trig way to say it.
Y2 minus Y1 equal over
Change in Y over change in X, which is Y2 minus Y1 over X2 minus X1. So what are your two Y's? 6 and 2. Do you want to do it in that order? 6 minus 2? Okay. So that is perfectly fine as long as when you do your X's, what X do you start with? The 0, the one with the 6. So what is it? 0 minus 8? So 6 minus 2 is, and 0 minus 8 is, and that reduces to negative 1/2. Okay? That one was a very easy problem. They just worded it very funny. All right, on the back, what about 53? Yes? Okay. Is that yeah, 53 is the crazy one. You ready? All right. If you can figure out a quicker way to do this, I would be much obliged because I cannot figure out a quicker way to do this. All right, so what do they want? You start with how many calls? 24 calls?
Yeah.
And every time, each day, he wants to add how many to it?
5.
5. And what's 24 plus 5? 29. How many days are we going to do this for? 20. But here's the thing. You ready? You're going to notice a pattern. What's 29 plus 4? 29 plus 5, excuse me. 34. What's 34 plus 5? 39. What's 39 plus 5? What's 44 plus 5? Are you noticing a pattern?
Yes.
What's the pattern? 4s and 9s at the end, right? So how many days do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, here we go. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Did y'all see how I did that? Okay, and then you just hit enter. And what is that, D? Now, if you can figure out a quicker way to do that mathematically, please let me know, because there might be some bonus points in it for you, because I have tried and tried and tried and cannot figure out a quicker way to do that. So, anyway. All right, what about 54? Do y'all need 54? Anybody need 54?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Let's see. What's the graph of x squared look like? What kind of a parabola? A regular parabola or an upside down parabola? A regular parabola. Which ones can I mark out because they do not have a regular parabola? F. Come on, guys. I have more than one person with me today. Come on. F and G. All right. Now, what does this -2 do to that parabola? It does not flip it. The negative is in front, flips it. It moves it down 2, right? Which one has not been moved down 2? J, K, or H? H has not been moved down 2. Oh my gosh, just by knowing about parabolas, I have narrowed it down from 5 to 2 answer choices. Got it good? All right, so what about x minus 7? What does the -7 do to the line? Moves it down 7, right? Which this one hits at 7. This one, if I extended it down, it would hit at 7 as well, okay? So here we go. Let's look at this piece. You have 1 less than x less than 5. What did these less thans mean about the circle? Was it open or was it closed? They're both open. Look at J. This one has an open, but this one is closed. So it's not J. So the only one left is K. You see how both of those points are open? Do y'all remember doing that from that's been a while. It's been like maybe September since we did that. Kind of, sort of. All right. What about last one, 55? 55, I know we covered this in Algebra 1 if you had me, but it was very, very quick, and it has been a long time ago. So do we need to go over 55? Yes? Okay. Permutations are statistics and probability, okay, which is normally at the end of algebra. And what you do is, do y'all know what this little symbol means?
No. It means excitement.
It does not mean excitement in math. Actually, it kind of does. Numbers are kind of exciting. It's factorial. Who said that? Very good, Sarah. Very good. It means a factorial, okay? Factorial. Okay. So if you had like 3 factorial, it means 3 times 2 times 1. If you had 5 factorial, it means 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. Does that make sense? And there's a button on your calculator. When we get to all that, I'll show you, okay? So a permutation is the number of objects you started with, which is 15 factorial, over, you're going to subtract your 2 objects, 15 minus 5 factorial. So what's your answer? D. Y'all okay? Kind of, sort of? Kitty got it good? Okay. All right. So we are going to do 56 through 60 of this tomorrow, and then that'll be it for this first practice test. And then juniors, we're going to look at taking a practice ACT, kind of to get some data, to kind of see how we're doing. Probably next week, maybe beginning of next week, end of this week, somewhere around there. So here's what we need to do. You ready? We got to pass out your notes for today. It's pretty simple stuff. Algebra 1, you did this at the very, very, very end of Algebra 1, and you did just the basics. So we're going to take it and we're going to run with it today, okay? All right, here's what I need. I need one person from every row to come grab notes for everybody, okay? Okay, here we go. You ready? Our goal today is to get this page finished. So, here we go. You ready? Let's look at number one. Pretend like this. Let me get a piece of paper. All right. So, pretend like that bottom denominator, is not there. So, pretend like the only thing you have is 5x and x squared plus 4x plus 3. What could you do to that? You could distribute, but if I wanted to simplify, I could factor that back piece, right? So how does x squared plus 4x plus 3 factor? X plus 1 and x plus 3. Very good. So 5x, x plus 1 times x plus 3. Remember, I told you factoring was going to come back to haunt you. Come back. It never left? Oh, okay. All right, what about the bottom? So pretend like the top is not there. What can I do to x plus 6, or x minus 6, excuse me, and x squared minus 9? Oh, hold on.
Difference of 2 squares.
Difference of 2 squares. And Brinkley, what did you say? I wouldn't want to FOIL it. I would want to simplify this piece. So I would say x minus 6, and then how would x squared minus 9 factor as the difference of 2 squares? Plus 3 and minus 3. Very good. And then 2 are going to cancel right on out, right? So do you see why I factored it? That way something would reduce. Anything else you see that will reduce? Bless you. All right, so we have 5x and x minus plus 1, excuse me. And then I have x minus 6 and x minus 3. Now, if I wanted to, you don't necessarily have to. You could distribute the 5x, and you could FOIL the bottom, right? But we're not going to. The only time you would want to do that would be if the answer choices have been distributed and FOILed, right? That could be the answer, or they could FOIL the bottom, and they could distribute the 5. You just kind of have to look at it. All right, what about number 2? Pretend like the bottom is not there. What could I do on the top? Anything? Nothing? Okay. What about the bottom? Can I do anything on the bottom? What could you do? Factors of, let's see, how does that factor?
Negative 3 plus 2.
Negative 3 plus 2 is exactly right. Very good. And I'm just going to bring that top right on over. Oh, that's definitely a y, not an x, and I put x's. Sorry about that, guys. Do you see anything? Y minus 3's cancel out. What'd you say, Scotty?
You can subtract the 4, the y, and the 4y.
Well, when I subtract these,
No, the 4y.
the 4y and the y, what happens?
The 3y.
You're making it too complicated. No, it's just 4. When you divide the bases, you subtract the exponents. 1 minus 1 is 0, and y to the 0 power is just 1, and 1 times 4 is just 4. They cancel, okay? All right, well, do we have anything left? So we have 4, and then y plus 4. And on the bottom, we only have y plus 2 left. And if we wanted to, we don't have to. So let's do this. We could say this is my answer. Or, what else could be my answer? 4y plus 16 over y plus 2. Very good. You cannot, because they are not like terms. Yep. That's y plus 2, not just 2. And that's 4y plus 16, not just 16. Are y'all okay? Not too hard, right? Huh? If you know how to factor, it's easy. All right, what about number 3? Do you see anything? Let's cover at the bottom. Do you which one? The second parenthesis, so factors of 8, you mean?
Yeah.
All right, and what are the factors of 8 that add or subtract to be 2? Positive 4, negative 2, you said? Okay. And what about the bottom? Do you see anything on the bottom we can do? No? Okay, so x minus 1, x plus 5, x minus 2, and what do you notice? What does? X plus 5 and x minus 2? So let me ask you a question. You ready? Why do they cancel out? Because of the same thing, right? What would happen if I had 2 x plus 5s on the top? Would they both cancel out, or would just one of them? Just one. You gotta have they group together as a date. They on a date. One's on the top of the fraction, one's on the bottom of the fraction, and they'll cancel out. Okay. 3 is the third wheel, right? So you cannot have 3 of them and they all cancel out. 1 and 1. So you have, let's see, 2x and x plus 4. And then you have x minus 1 on the bottom. Or you don't have to do this, or you could have 2x squared plus 8x and x minus 1. Either one is acceptable. Got it good? All right, you try number 4 real quick. Try number 4, number 4, number 4.
Oh,
That doesn't sound good.
it was. That's not it.
This one. You know one.
Yeah, hurry, because the rest of it starts with
Yeah.
Would you read it? You put them on board? And the red pens up there. Yeah, probably the more likely to do this. Only because something back in the smaller. So it's not taking 2 blocks. Alright, Mike's putting up your answer. So he factored the bottom as y minus 3 and y plus 3.
Move it over a little bit so they can see. This one. There you go.
And then the y plus 7 canceled out. So your answer should be 3y over y minus 3 and y plus 3. Circle that for me. Or, what else could you have gotten besides y minus 3 and y plus 3?
Y squared minus 2. Very good. 3y over y squared minus 9. If you want to know the real truth, this one is probably going to be the one they're going to put, simply because it's smaller. Normally, the smaller answer, the less they have to type in, is going to be the one they put, normally. All right, let's look at the bottom. You ready? Pretty easy stuff. Wow, Matthew, that was like perfect timing. Here we go. You ready? All right, let's look at number 5. Number 5, so cover up that second fraction, okay? Pretend like it's the exact same thing we've been doing. What do you notice about the top fraction, the top part, and the bottom part? You can simplify them. You can factor them. So what are the factors of 16 that add or subtract to be negative 6? Positive, negative, what? What's the 8? Negative 8 plus 2. Very good. All right. What about the bottom? What's the factors of 64 that add or subtract to be negative 16? Negative 8 and negative 8. All right, and we're multiplying. We like multiplying, right? It's pretty simple.
Can I ask something?
Yeah,
Why don't you just go ahead and look?
because it's simpler to factor and see what reduces.
I mean, all you do is just
First.
smush it together.
Yeah, you're just going to smush them together. That's it. All right, so let's see. Then we have x minus 8 on the top. What about the bottom of the other one? X plus 2 and x plus 3. Very good. All right, so 1 has to be on the top. Really, you could smush this all together and just make this one big line. Make that all one big fraction if you wanted to. I mean, it's the same thing. All right, do you notice anything? Okay, 1 on top, 1 on bottom cancels out, right? What? The other x minus 8, because 1's on top. They have to pair up in order to cancel out, okay? And the x plus 2's. Now, when they cancel out, what is anything divided by itself equal to? 1. So what do you have as your answer? That's why you reduce first instead of multiplying, okay? It'll make your life so much easier than having to deal with, like, crazy numbers. All right, what about number 6?
Go ahead and multiply.
I would go ahead and multiply that, right? What's the difference between 5 and 6? You can't factor anything, right? Okay, so what do you notice that I can multiply just on the top? What's 12 times 3? 36. Where'd you get that from? A times A. Multiply the bases, add the exponents. And let's see what comes after A. B should become next. Do I only have the 1B squared, right? What comes after B? C to what power? To the 4th, and then F to the 3rd. If you do them in order, it will make your life easier. If not, you're not going to be able to do everything in one step. What about the bottom? You notice anything on the bottom? Oh, it's 8 times 18. 144. And then A to what power? The third. B to what power? The fourth. C to the F to the fifth. Very good. Now, what do you notice? Okay, 36 and 144. What's the biggest number that divides into both of them? 36. 36 goes into 36 once. 36 goes into 144 how many? 4. Do I have to write the 1 on top? And if there's nothing there, yes I will. If there's something else there, then no I don't. Alright, what about the A's? Alright, when you divide the bases, what do you do to the exponents? Do it so it's positive. Don't say 2 minus 3. 3 minus 2 is 1. Where does it go? On the bottom. Alright, what about the B's? B to what power? Where? Bottom. C to what power? First, where? See, now we don't have to write that 1 because we got a C there, right? And then F to what power? And on the bottom, right? Got it good? Pretty simple, right? Think you can try 7? I'll try 7 real quick, see what you get. Okay, so that one you could factor. Try factoring that one. So that it has 2 terms, like the 8x minus 20. And if they're not perfect squares, what else did you look at to factor it? Which a lot of you are forgetting to do. 3 little letters. GCF. Very good. A lot of you are forgetting to factor out the GCF on the 8x minus 20. So check that, okay? The 8x minus 20 has 2 terms. Whenever you have 2 terms, you always look for a GCF. And I do have one. Whatever goes into both of them. Yep. So, what do you do? Pull it to the front. Just like you would normally factor out. I would go ahead and do it now, so hopefully you'll cancel with something else. We'll erase the 8x minus 20 first one. Let's get your CF. Touch it down. Open your parentheses. Open your parentheses. Close in your parentheses. Put a parentheses. After the thing. And after the thing. So we're going to take out the 4. You can't have 4 times on that, so it's the same thing. Okay, let's go over how to factor out a GCF. What's the GCF of 8x minus 20? 4. And you put it to the front, and then you take out a 4. What's left? 2x minus 5. That's it. You're making that way too difficult. What about the bottom? X squared plus 2x minus 35. What'd you get? X plus 7. There you go. All right, I can just make that one big fraction. What about this one? X squared minus 7x plus 10. X minus 2. Very good. And 4x squared minus 16? Nope. They are both perfect squares. 2x minus 5 and 2x plus, not 4. 4, excuse me. That doesn't help us. Maybe we should pull a GCF out first, because that didn't help us any. Let's see. GCF would be 4. Is that going to help us any? That would be x squared minus 4. Yeah, those 4s will cancel now. Oh, and then the plus minus 2s. Yeah, that would be the best way to do it. Okay, let's see. And the x minus 5s would cancel. So that would be 2x minus 5 and x minus 2. And x plus 7 and x plus 2x minus 2. Are y'all okay? Then what would cancel then? X minus 2's. So that would be 2x minus 5 and x plus 7 and x plus 2. I had to squeeze all that in. Are y'all okay? So you have to think back a little bit to 8th grade. It's been a minute. For some of us, algebra, whenever you had algebra. And you don't like division. When you had fractions, Miss Miranda taught you something a little special about fractions. Keep, change, flip is what I use. Miss Miranda uses the KISS, keep it, switch, switch, right? So you do not want division. So anytime that it has division and division only when it has division, you do the keep it, switch, switch, or the keep, change, flip. KFC. KCF. Either one, I use the keep, change, flip. Miss Miranda uses the KISS, okay? So you're going to keep the first fraction, but to save you some steps, to save you some writing, let's go ahead and factor. So x squared minus 16 will factor as x plus 4 and x minus 4. And that's two terms. When you have two terms, you look for the GCF. What's the GCF? 12, which would leave me with x plus 3. Then you're going to switch the division to multiplication. And you're going to flip these two, okay? So this denominator, x squared minus 3x minus 18, is going to be on the top now. So how does that factor? Very good. And that numerator, x squared minus 12x plus 32, is now going to be my denominator. And how does that factor? Still trying to think. 8 and 4. Very good. Positive, negative, negative, positive. Which one? Both negative. Very good. And do you notice anything? X plus 3's. One's on top, one's on bottom. They'll cancel. X minus 4's. One's on top, one's on bottom. They'll cancel. Is that it? Yep. So you have x plus 4 and x minus 6 on the top. And you have 12 and x minus 8 on the bottom. Y'all okay? All right, what about number 9? What do you notice? Is all one conglomerate. You can't factor anything, right? So we're going to keep the first fraction. You might want to write a little small on this one, okay? Don't do anything to the first fraction. Just keep it the way it was. Then we're going to change division to multiplication, because division is like not real easy to do, okay? Then we're going to flip the bottom fraction, or the second fraction, should I say. Y'all okay? Now, you do not have to multiply first. You could cross cancel if you can. It will save you steps. We cannot all do that though, okay? So if you can cross cancel, look at the 5 and the 50. What goes into both of them? So it'd be 1 on the bottom and 10 on the top, right? So if you can cross cancel, do that. It's easier for most of us to put it together first. So what's 9 times 50? 450. And x to what power? Third. Y to what power? Fifth. Z to what power? Third. There you go. You're just adding those exponents. And on the bottom, what's 12 times 5? 60. X to what power? Y to what power? Z to what power? 4, right? Okay, so I know that 10 will go into both of those because they end in 0.
15.
15, is that the biggest one? Bless you. Yeah, that's the biggest. Well, no, actually, there's a bigger one. 30, yeah. 60 divided by 30. Yeah. Okay, so let's divide these by 30. Guys, look, if you divide it by the smaller number, it's not a big deal. What do you just have to do after that? You just have to do it again, okay? Just divide again. So what's 450 divided by 30? 15. And 60 divided by 30? 2. X to the first goes on top or bottom? Bottom. Y to the third goes on top. And Z to the first goes on the bottom. Are y'all okay? Pretty simple stuff, right? Kind of, sort of. All right, so let's go to number 10. Y'all try number 10. Sure. We're just going to try to get through number 12 today, okay? So you're on a test, and you're like, whoa, I don't know if I do keep, change, flip or not. What tells you to do keep, change, flip? Division sign. Very good. You can go ahead and factor that first one. It'll save you some steps, okay? Alright, so we'll have the correct answer for number 10. And make sure that you're watching what you've done, okay?
Miss Blatley, can we have Michaela Raleigh to check out, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll just make sure you watch the video from bottom too, okay? They're pretty similar. Yes. We need to come to zero period. All right, so yes, ma'am. Yes, son. Or yes. Okay. Do you notice how the x plus 3's are not opposites? They're both on the bottom of the fraction, right? They do not cancel each other out if they're both on the bottom of the fraction. One has to be on the top and 1 has to be on the bottom of the fraction for them to cancel out. Yes, ma'am.
Isn't that just the X minus five?
Where?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that minus 5. Yeah, just change that sign. There we go. Are y'all good? Anybody lost? Did you let it get you or no? Some, maybe? Nobody saying a word. They were like dead quiet today. What, dear?
But it could, like, the final answer could be X plus 3 and X plus 3, right?
More than likely, they're going to have it reduced like this. They're going to have it in the simplest form, which is both of them together. It could be, yes, Matthew, that there is a chance that it'll be X plus 3, but 95% of the time it's going to be X plus 3 squared. All right, what about number 11? Number 11 is the exact same thing, guys. They just write it differently, okay? So what is the first fraction that they give us? A plus B over 4. That's the one you're going to keep. So A plus B over 4. But I'm going to change division to multiplication. And what's the second fraction that I'm going to flip? There you go. And what happens? 4's cancel out. Now, A squared plus B squared is not the difference of 2 squares. It is the sum of 2 squares. And it will not factor the same way as the difference. So it is simply A plus B over A squared plus B squared. You cannot factor that or reduce that anymore. Yes, ma'am.
So why would you subtract it?
Because you're adding. All right, number 12, last one. Here we go. And then we'll take a few minutes on our rough drafts, okay? What is the first fraction you're going to keep? Perfect. Now, that is the difference of 2 squares, right? We can factor that in just a minute. Change division to multiplication. And what's the bottom fraction that you're going to flip? Over. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you ready? Let's take a stroll down memory lane, shall we? All right, so we have x squared over x plus y, x minus y, right? Because it's the difference of 2 squares. Are y'all okay with that? Now, this has to be rewritten before I can cancel things out. What is wrong with y minus 8? And why will it not cancel with x minus... Why did I just say 8? What is wrong about y minus x? And why can I not cancel it with x minus y? It's not in the right order. What kind of x is this? That's a negative x. What kind of y is this? Positive. Do you see now how they're not the same? But what do these both have in common? What can I factor out of this? What kind of one? You always take what in the front? Negative 1. Okay, so here we go. So this is negative 1. That'll be a positive x now and a negative y. And then what's on the bottom? 4x. Are y'all okay with that? And what cancels out? X minus y's. So I have negative x squared over 4x and x plus y. Negative 1 times x squared is negative x squared. And something else will reduce. The only time things will reduce is if you are multiplying or if things are exactly the same in parentheses. What do you notice? The x squared and
4x.
the 4x, right? Not this x, not the x plus y. That one cannot be reduced because you're adding. But these two x's right here can be reduced. So that will be negative x to the first on the top and just a 4 on the bottom with x plus y. The x's cannot be reduced now because this x is being added to y. They're not the same thing. Okay, does that make sense? Got it good? Everybody okay? All right. Now, here's what we're going to do for the rest of the class period. You ready? If you have rough drafts that you would like me to look at, now would be the time to come show them to me. No rough drafts will be accepted after Friday the 24th. No rough drafts will be accepted after Friday the 24th.